Black Redditors, what's your most awkward racist moment? Here's mine. So I let a friend, who happened to be black, I'm white, borrow my car to pick someone up at the airport about 30 minutes away. It was shitty weather out, but I had 4x4 drive, and it was a rather large truck. He ended up crashing the car, and it was totaled, but he and his passenger were alright. The police call me and ask me if my car has been stolen and keep asking if I'm sure. I say I'll let my friend borrow it, and they ask, "Sir, is your friend black?" As a Native American Redditor, I'm finding this to be quite an awkward racist moment. Awkward in the sense that it stirs up these feelings I've had for some time, that black Americans can be so subtly racist and exclusive as to presuppose that they are the biggest and most important victims of racism, almost as if they own it. Worst is they can be the biggest proponents of racism by insisting on labeling themselves as different. No one defines black people as specifically being a black, and therefore a different element of society, as much as black people do. There are underlying causes for this, but it is no excuse not to rise up and move on. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your heritage and celebrating your culture, but you can't let it define you above human. Black should come after human, and it doesn't seem to. Sorry for the throwaway, but there aren't many Native Americans on here, and I don't want to be identified. I'm a white English guy. I was backpacking through the Middle East when the Iraq War started. Most people were pretty cool and were very friendly, but one night I was walking through Hama in Syria when all of a sudden I was grabbed from behind and had a knife to my throat. "Fucking American, I'm gonna cut your fucking throat," snarled my assailant. With sheer terror I replied that I wasn't American. "American, English, I'll kill you all," he replied. As the knife started to press deeper, a sudden flash of inspiration came over me. "I'm Scottish," I managed to squeak out in best fake accent. "Scotland? Braveheart?" All of a sudden the knife was gone, and was now embraced in the tightest hug ever. Turns out that the guy had recently seen Braveheart, and didn't realize that England and Scotland were no longer at war and now considered me a brother in arms. He ended up inviting me for dinner at his home with his wife and kids. Hard to refuse a guy with a big goddamn knife, all of the time trying to keep up my bad Scottish accent, and trying to come up with excuses for why I couldn't go with him into Iraq to help in the war. Apart from being crazy fucked up about wanting to kill some Americans or English, he was actually a nice decent guy and his wife sure could cook. Your dad unbuckled his seatbelt and got out of his car to get in a policeman's face? Geez, I don't care if you are black or white or how racist the cop was. This seems like a bad idea. The cop could have easily perceived this as a threatening action, and who knows what could have happened then. Hispanic female here. A few years back I was driving back from San Antonio. I was pulled over by some troopers. One was an older white male, the other was a younger Hispanic male. Me, being Hispanic as well, sat there while the Hispanic trooper approached my window. He started speaking Spanish to me while I just look at him dumbfounded because I have no earthly clue as to what he is saying. The older Caucasian trooper was standing just off of my rear bumper near the driver's side tail light. I stick my head out of the window and look directly at the Caucasian trooper as say, "What did he say?" That must have included a look of profound WTF-uckery because the Caucasian trooper just started laughing. I guess the Hispanic trooper assumed I spoke Spanish and didn't realize that some brown people only know English. They let me off with a warning. I like to think it's because they had a good laugh at the whole situation. When I was 12, some girls on the bus home from school stole another girl's keys and blamed it on me. Being the mature 7th grader I was, I decided to go to the house of the girl who blamed it on me to confront her. Her mother answered the door and I tried explaining what happened. She told me to wait, so I did, and she came back to the door with a shotgun and said, "Don't you blame my daughter for your nigger tricks." I took the hint and walked home, and have never mentioned it to my parents out of fear. As an actually black person I don't have a good awkward story, but I have a funny one. One day I was helping my dad film some stuff around North Texas. He needed to get a shot of Texas Motor Speedway, so we head up there. There was a race that day, but it was finishing up and everyone was heading home. We get in a spot to set up, and he goes to his truck bed to set up the tripod. As I'm handing him equipment he says, "There's a lot of good old boys out here. I wonder how long before we hear the N-word." We make an over/under bet of 5 minutes, and 1 minute later some guys drove by and yelled N asterisk 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 S. We just looked at each other and laughed. I'm a black man. I was at my job, working at a college, having a conversation with someone at one of the college's designated smoking hut. This blonde kid sits next to me, flips a penny at me, and says dance monkey dance and walks away after breathing the fire out my lungs. I dealt with it through the college, and he was suspended for a year. It was the greatest test of my patience. If I wasn't such a peaceful man, I'd kick some ass. Edit. For clarification based on comments below, it's a small school and I waited to hear his name from someone trying to get his attention at said smoking hut. The college only allows smoking at the hut, so all nicotine fiends meet there. I don't think I'm being oversensitive / the punishment is too severe, as this all happened not too far away from Rutgers. In the same year a young man took his own life after having his sexual identity become public fodder. If I was not the man I am, and I responded likewise, he would be looking at jail time also. He is going to bring that nonsense to his future workplace and lose a job. I'm not black, but I'm Jewish, and I have an incredibly awkward racism story. I was at a party joking it up with some friends in one of my friends' rooms. I dropped a Jew joke and a girl, who I had met a couple of times, but didn't know very well, said "Oh my god." I assumed that she was Jewish, and that she was offended. So, I said, "It's okay, I'm Jewish," and at the exact same time she said, "I hate Jewish people." The room went dead silent and my jaw fucking dropped. There was a good 5 seconds of silence as I gave this girl the death stare, trying to think of what to say next. She beat me to it and said something along the lines of, "Well, it's not all Jews. I just work for these old Jewish people and daddy da." I don't really remember what happened next. She was dating one of my friends at the time. They broke up shortly after, and that was pretty much the only thing stopping me from telling her to do TFO of my house. I'm Korean, but have lived in the USA my whole life. Don't have any trace of an accent. I was once driving through Texas in the winter and my lips were getting chapped. I stopped at a podunk gas station, went inside to see 2 old guys inside that just stopped their conversation and stared at me. I said, "Where is a chapstick?" To which the employee immediately replied, "We ain't got no chopsticks round here." I slowly backed away and drove off very quickly. I'm black, and I was out at a bar with 2 white friends. These are close friends, so amongst each other we sometimes share racial jokes. For example, "Friend, man, it's dark here." Me, "That's racist." We saw a table open up, 2 white girls were still sitting there, and they were cool with letting us join. Talking just with my own friends, we shared a joke like the example above. Here's where things get awkward with one girl. Girl 1 asks me if we work in IT. I say no and ask why. She says we dress like we work in it. I was kinda taken aback, but I let it slide and tried to make small talk with her. Girl 2 seemed much nicer, but claimed she didn't really know #1, that #1 was just her husband's friend. A moment later, I got up to get a round of drinks, and as I sat down, girl 1 looks me hard in the eye and says, "So, where are your black friends?" I asked her to clarify if she was trying to make a joke, or if my friends put her up to it, etc. She said, "No, I want to know where are your black friends. Don't you have any?" Girl 1 basically wanted me to prove / quantify my blackness, and went so far as to say, "You don't act black enough. I don't think you're really black. You're probably Puerto Rican or something." I said to her, "Listen, bitch. I dealt with this shit in high school. People saying I'm not black enough, and there's no fucking way I'll take this from you." At this point, #2's husband joins the table and realizes what's going on. He explained he can totally relate to me dealing with this nonsense. Growing up conservative, Jewish in a more orthodox Jewish neighborhood. Neighbor slashed his dad's tires after he drove on a Sabbath day. So he and girl 2 had a nice talk with me and my friends, all while girl 1 sat in silence, staring off somewhere. While I was up getting another round of drinks, girl 1 said to my friends, "Your friend's offensive." They told her off again. As we were leaving and saying goodbyes, I gave girl 1 an intentional awkwardly long handshake, saying, "It was really nice meeting you. You have a wonderful night."